Hey, what's up YouTube? This is We All Juggle Knives. Welcome to my review of the Cold Steel Bushman. This is one of two different models of the Bushman. They call this their Bowie Bushman. You see it has a hollow tang. The tang is actually the handle as well. Right? It's got a tubular handle. They take the tang and they fold it around to make like a little tube. It has a little storage area. It can also be put at the end of a shaft to make a spear. Now, I am reviewing this as a knife, but as I said, it can be used as a spearhead, so in the future, if I make it into a spear, I will review it as the Bushman spear. Now, the steel on this is SK5, that is a carbon steel. All right, and you can see the grind on there. It's a partial hollow. They're fairly narrow. The blade length is 7 inches. All right, that's the usable blade length. It depends on where you measure it from. I put some white grip tape on it just because the sporting goods store ran out of the black grip tape. Perhaps because I purchased it all, but yeah, it has no guard, as many people have noted, but it's got a wicked slicing profile and it's very pointed. All right, doing stuff with this blade. Here we are making some shavings with a Cold Steel Bushman. It's kind of a general purpose outdoors knife. You can do a lot of things with it. You can use it as a camp knife, for example. One strength of this design is the price. You can usually get one for around $30, sometimes even less. Although Cold Steel has a new version that has a different sheath, so currently the model with the different sheath is more expensive, but I'm assuming that price will go down as they make more. So there you see it making some nice little bushcrafty curly cues. Now, one thing I did not do with this is baton, because the other model of the Bushman has a straight spine. I'll check out my handiwork. Look how thin. Yeah, but like I was saying, the other model of the Bushman has a straight spine, so it's easier to get a square hit with. Whereas this particular model, it flares out, and because of that, there's that steep angle change to make the point like halfway down the spine. So yeah, I didn't baton with this just because that shape of that spine, not really optimized for it. But there's a lot of other stuff you can do. All right, here is the sheath. As you can see, it's got a secondary pocket. Right, it's got a belt loop there, and it overlaps the handle to a significant degree, which helps it hold it in. That's more the bushcrafty rather than the tactical style. And it's basically heavy-duty nylon, and it's got that reinforced part at the tip of the sheath. So it's a very secure sheath, and it's got a lot of cargo for your fire kit and cargo capacity, I should say. Here it is stabbing the log of doom, the log of truth. It's a very pointed knife, but it does not have a guard, so you've got to be careful. It does not have a guard, but remember, it could also be used as a spear, so in that case, it would not matter. But I just wanted to test the durability of the tip, and I also did twist it from side to side a few times. It's a very flexible, physically a flexible blade. I have also stuck this into various things like trees and so forth and just bent it sideways just to see how far it would bend. It's quite flexible. It's thin, and it's definitely not as rigid as many knives, which is good in a sense that it will bend rather than break. I also just wailed on the log because since I didn't baton with this, I wanted to do something that would be a little forceful, a little stressful to it. I wanted to see if the edge would roll or if it would chip. It did not roll or chip, so that is good. I also did some basic carving and whittling with this, figuring that it's a common outdoor task. If you needed to make a piece of a trap or a piece for a shelter or a little pointy spear to hunt something with, you might use it as a carving and whittling tool. And because I didn't want the video to take very long, I chose just a really thin piece of scrap wood that would not take long to whittle. What am I making there? Well, I call it a freedom shank because it's kind of like a shank, but I can't call it a prison shank because we're not in prison. But if you would imagine that this piece of wood were longer, it would be like essentially a light spear which I'm not going to be hunting wild boar with that, but you could find some use for it. You can always use a pointy stick for something, right? But yeah, this Bushman, this is one of the old classics of budget blades as far as cold steel. Because it's been around for so long, I've actually talked to many people who have owned this for many years. Universally, it gets very good reviews for the price. Wow, the birds are waking up here as I'm narrating. But yeah, classic budget value. Another thing you could carve with this blade would be a handle for the blade itself, right? You could make the end of a spear shaft to fit into the hollow handle of the Bushman itself. That's the rough cut after I smooth it out a little more. And there you go, the shank of freedom. Final thoughts on this cold steel Bushman. It has a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of roles it could fill, right? You can use it as a spearhead. You can use it as kind of a primitive, general purpose outdoor knife. It's a great slicer with the curve of that edge, right? It's fairly pointy for the spear use. The hollow handle, if you get stoppers for it, you can actually use that as storage, and a lot of people put little fire kits in there, and it's just a tough knife. Even though it's fairly thin, the flexibility of it, like you can bend it a tremendous degree without it breaking. So that puts it in the budget beater category, right? And the price is certainly right. And like I said, the new model has a Secure X sheath, which comes with a ferro rod, so that might be slightly more expensive. But still, overall, I highly recommend this in the budget beater, general purpose, outdoor blade category. Its biggest competition is really other cold steel items, such as the other model of the Bushman and the cold steel GI Tanto. Right, so I will include Amazon links to a variety of the best cold steel budget items. Please try to use those links. They do help support the channel. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.